We gotta switch. Fractured Focus is next.
Yeah.
Okay, topic number 3. We'll talk about the 2DS next week.
All right.
Okay. I was going to say we're awfully Nintendo heavy.
Well, you know what? Let's make that. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it because we've had some long topics. This could be a short one. Nintendo announced that they're doing, or they announced a new 2DS that actually looks really sleek. It looks really cool. $150. It's going to be the exact same processor as the 3DS. The only difference is the screen isn't going to have the 3D
movie ability.
Yeah, you can see with it, and I know that gets confusing for some people. It's 3D graphics, but it's not seeing in 3 dimensions, so you have that depth of perception on it. I'm curious. I've seen a 3DS. I've used one that's like in a Target or a Best Buy store for a couple minutes. I've seen a lot of kids that use them all the time. You've got kids that use this stuff. Do they really love that 3D aspect, or do they turn it off, or what's their thoughts on it?
My son likes it.
Mm-hmm.
It gives me a headache just watching him play it, and I think it gives him a headache if he plays it for too long.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For me, it's just not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's like the top screen, you like turn it up and it like blurs 2 images together to give it depth.
Right.
And you can kind of tell that that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like image on top of image, and it's just doing it at such a quick rate that it gives it that appearance of being 3-dimensional. Now, I haven't seen any games that he's played where that's been a benefit at all, other than the fact that it makes the characters as they're walking through town. Because he plays Pokemon, Yokai Watch, he's got Luigi's Mansion. He plays those types of games, and it's like an over-the-head kind of look on some of them. Mm-hmm. And he's like walking through a town. I'm not really a fan of it personally because it does kind of hurt my eyes.
Yeah, I remember when I was in North Dakota with living with some colleagues, and he had a big like 80-inch or 90-inch projection screen that would even do 3D. And so we had the PlayStation 3 hooked up to it. There was a handful of games that were actually 3D compatible. So as long as you got the glasses, and we had multiple sets of those. So we were playing Resistance Fall of Man in 3D, a first-person shooter in 3D. It was pretty cool. I mean, you had depth. But I remember even when we're done with that, I'm like, you don't have the wow effect of when you watched Avatar where 3D made the experience exponentially better.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, yep, that had depth.
Well, that's the big move. That is the only difference between the 2D and the 3D, or the 2DS XL and the 3DS XL.
Right.
That's it. Other than that, they saw that they have they changed it, so now the 2DS has got the same. It's got the clamshell design.
It looks a lot cooler too.
Well, yeah,
I think it looks a lot sleeker with the colors, the black and the neon blue.
Well, yeah, but just the actual design. If you held a 2DS XL and a 3DS XL next to each other, and had them both turned off, they would look exactly the same.
Right.
You know,
I think the 2DS XL has fewer cameras because he has two cameras on the outside of his.
Oh yeah, the 3DS XL added another camera so it could take 3D pictures and display them on the. Yeah. And obviously the 2DS wouldn't need that 2DS.
Well, and he has some games too where it's like an augmented reality game. Where he can do things. He can take pictures of you or video of you, and like have things attacking you or whatever it would be, or take a picture of your face and then have these like little orbs around, and then he's got to try to shoot the orbs.
Yeah,
sure.
So, well, you know what's interesting about this too is, of course, everybody likes to make as big a deal out of every topic possible, and I don't know. I just consider some of this stuff clickbait. Look at this: Nintendo announced the new 2DS. See, they're not giving up on the mobile platform. We already know there's no way, even if they're eventually going to phase out the 3DS, 2DS line, that they're going to do it right now. Right? It's going to take at least a few years to dwindle. You got 180 or what is the count? 3DS count if you include the DS or the 2DS and the 3DS? It's got to be like, because it's way bigger than most of the consoles, isn't it? The DS I think was the second best-selling console of all time, second only to the Wii. I wonder.
Well, there's a huge catalog of games too.
Right, and then they just had that direct where they had announced all the new games coming out. Whatever the. Okay, here we go. 66.12 million 3DS, and that doesn't even count the DSs and the 2DSs. So anyway, they have a huge install base. Of course, they're not going to give up on that anytime soon. So them putting out another, call it the PlayStation Slim, you know what I mean? Another version of it. That it's the same platform, though. I don't think this is surprising at all. And when I watch people that go like, see, they're going to keep the mobile platform, I still think that's a possibility. Them announcing this, to me, shows nothing or changes nothing. You know what I mean?
You know what it shows me?
Huh.
It's rather significant. What they're doing is they're moving the DS away from the Switch price point.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Because you got to think a 3DS just last year was $250.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, just last year the 3DS XL was $250
if
to
the
buy,
3DS,
or $230 with a game.
If the 3DS started at $250, why would anybody be surprised that the Nintendo Switch, that's only $50 more but immensely more powerful, is selling like hotcakes? That seems like kind of
that's just it. But they're making their own room.
Sure.
They want to keep it viable, so they give you something that maybe are inferior to the previous one in a way, but it's at a price point that's only half of what the other one is.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get some additional adoption because you've now made it affordable for people.
Right.
But you've also separated your products. So now the Switch being $300, it doesn't seem like it's that much.
Right. That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. That's a great way to kind of separate your tiers by just, price points and stuff like that. If the Switch came down to like the 150 to 200 range, I'm assuming you guys would be a lot more likely to jump on that bandwagon, which provided it had the catalog that we were talking about as a hypothetical. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that's interesting with it, when they showed it off, that everybody was freaking out saying, well, guess they're not giving up on the 3DS or that platform anytime soon. I'm like, there's 60-some million of them out in the wild with games and developers. What was everybody expecting? Like, okay, starting June, no more 3DS line. All 66 million of you.
We're sunsetting it.
We have 5 million
No
people that have a Switch. We're gonna focus on them. You 66 million, right here, buddy. That just makes absolutely no sense.
Plus, games still being released, games still being worked on.
Right.
Yep.
And you need to make it attractive for those developers to keep it viable too.
Yeah. And it's got such a healthy ecosystem. Why wouldn't you continue to nurture that as you transition over the next few years?
I mean, it's an interesting way to actually kind of make that adjustment because, again, if you just look at the devices themselves, they're for the most part identical.
Yeah.
So how do you justify a price drop on what's essentially almost exactly the same device?
Right.
And I don't know. I think the move, obviously the price move, and I think that's a huge appeal. But when I look at it as far as, well, was the 3D element of that device really worth $100?
That's what I'm wondering.
It was not.
There was a huge lawsuit that they just won in regards to the 3D technology on the 3DS XL.
Oh, really?
Or just the 3DS. And I'm wondering, in a way, if this wasn't a contingency, if they would have lost that lawsuit.
I definitely probably added to the equation. I mean, they've already had the 2DS before that wasn't clamshell, right?
Yeah.
It was like one big device. That
it was almost like a tablet.
And that was like, what, $100?
No, I think it was cheaper than that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because it was on Black Friday. You could get one if you found one for $99. They had a special over Black Friday or whatever. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
So they've obviously... I'm wondering, because they have to know, they do all kinds of market research. What percentage of the pie of their 3DS users even care or would not miss the 3D aspect? Because I would, if I use that, I would definitely be one of them. When I look at it, and I know that kids don't care about this, which is so funny when people go for there are people that care about, the pro stuff, the PlayStation level, the 1080p, the high-res graphics. But there's a lot of people that don't give a shit about that because I look at the resolution on the 3DS and it is blocky as hell, I mean, you've got 1080p on your fucking phone. But kids don't care because if Pokemon's fun, Pokemon is fun.
They care, does it play my game?
Yeah.
And why are they $40 games and my parents won't buy me a bunch of them?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm excited to see. It would be an awesome transition if a few years from now they just made like your 3DS electronic purchases playable on the Switch. That's a really good way to transition, which you wouldn't want to do anytime soon because you're throwing away money.
Yep.
But down the road, have it emulate. I mean, it should be able to emulate a 3DS game. No freaking problem with the power you got in there.
Well, yeah. I mean, and just like even speaking of Pokemon, with the popularity of it. I mean, even on his 3DS, you can go buy Yellow and Blue, all those original Game Boy and Game Boy Advanced games.
Right. Gonna be cool. Huh? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think about the 2DS. Is this surprising to you?
Is it a game changer?
Is it a game changer? Is this oh my God, look, I mean, I just don't think this is a big deal.
The 3DS
getting two of
XL
them.
is dead now.
In fact, wouldn't you guys be more surprised if they didn't throw out some kind of cheaper version of the 3DS at some point, especially as they get closer a few years out to eventually they're going to discontinue the console? Of course they're going to put out another cheaper version of it. They've done that with every system thus far. Remember that last generation they did for the NES that was top loading?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With the
gosh.
Yeah, but they did that for a good reason.
Well, they did it with the Super NES. They did it with I guess they didn't do it with the Nintendo 64, did they?
But the thing is by doing the top loading, it eliminated the issue with the cradle.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they did it at when the Super Nintendo was already out, like that market was already over, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah, and those are actually, if you have one of those, they're really valuable.
yeah, they're rare. They had
The
like
top
the
loading
what they
NES,
called
yeah.
the Bone Dog remote because it was like closer to Super NES, but it had two circles on the outside.
Bone Dog!
Yeah.
It's my nickname in college.
Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Another one.
Yeah.